And welcome in everybody to a brand new edition of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast for episode 3. I'm your host, Graham, the GShow Forsyth. This podcast is brought to you by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today for your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. You can also check out their website at makecanadafasteners.ca to learn more about their products. We're sponsored by Terrico Agricultural Company, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years. Be sure to check out their website at terico.ca to check out the great products that they offer to producers in this province. And we're also brought to you by Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. To go and inquire more about this company and Goaltenders, be sure to visit their website at gordytumelsongoalies.ca. This week's edition of the MMJHL Podcast is going to feature no guests, but it's going to be me just talking about what's happened in the league, taking a look at the standings, the points leaders, breaking it all down, as well as taking a look at a few of the teams in the MMJHL and talking about what's given them success and where they haven't had the most success this season for the most part. Also going to be showing you guys what's to come in this league coming up in terms of the upcoming games. So it's going to be a lot of fun on episode 3 of the MMJHL podcast here on GShow Productions, brought to you by Make Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and Goaltenders. We're going to take a transition and then take a look at some past scores and standings coming up next. Alright, so to start things off, we'll take a look at the past scores in the MMJHL, and looking at the St. Vital Junior Victorias, they had two completely opposite games, starting off their weekend with an 8-2 win on Thursday night at home against the River East Royal Knights, then losing 8-2 to the Raiders Junior Hockey Club on the road on Sunday afternoon. The Hawks and the Canucks both went 2-0, both winning big, then winning closer games to close out their past weekend of play. The Pembina Valley Twisters also went 2-0, while the Raiders and Railer Express went 1-1 on the weekend, and the River East Royal Knights and Stonewall Jets both went winless, as you can see there. In terms of the standings and how they're looking right now, as we take a look at the bottoms, both of the Stonewall Jets and the River East Royal Knights are tied for last place. The Jets have one less game played and lost in a closer one, as you just saw, to the Riels in OT. And as you can see, the St. Boniface Riels are third place currently in the MMJHL with an 8-4 record. The Canucks, of course, maintaining their 4-point lead for first place, having the best goals differential in the league while on a 4-game winning streak. The Hawks, Riels, and Raiders Junior Hockey Club are all separated by 2 points each, and St. Vital had a chance to actually be higher up in the standings, but as you saw there, they stay fourth after the Raiders blew them out on Sunday afternoon. And in terms of the St. Vital Vics, this is a team that's been playing inconsistent on paper. For the most part, they've been good defensively, fourth least goals allowed per game in the league, but 2 of the last 3 games, they've allowed 5 goals in that loss to the Fort Garry Twins and 8 goals on the matchup on Sunday. The offensive impact has been inconsistent as well. Yes, this team missed Ruben E and some other players for a few games, but overall, overall, they've been 8th in goals for per game in the league this season, which last year this Vicks team was more of a higher-powered offensive team compared to what they were giving up defensively. The one thing that's been really good for this team defensively as well has been who's been in net in Francois Gagnon. He didn't play against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, not to throw any shade on Joshua Karras or anything, or Nicholas Jarris. He's been good this season for the Vicks when they've called upon him, but Francois Gagnon has been a huge difference when this defense has collapsed and has given stuff up. Gagnon has been focused and has been razor sharp to make really good saves in tight. The top guys have been the top guys so far for the Victorias: Rubini, Nechwaduk, and Payson Butler. He leads the team in points. All three of those players are top 3 in points on this team, and the additions of the Andersons have been really good. Over a point per game so far since joining the team. Playing 5 games so far. Connor Mitchell has 4 goals, the team's second-line centerman. So this team has depth. Overall, the offensive impact could be a little bit higher, but it's a long season ahead. The Victorias, yes, they have been inconsistent, but on paper, one of the best teams in the league and the only team to beat the league-leading St. James Junior Canucks so far. Look out for the St. Vital Junior Victorias team. I think they're going to find their offensive firepower more so as the season goes along. Francois Gagnon, I think, can really backstop this team far in the playoffs if they get there. And, they got some players on defense that I think can put up more offense, like Brady Jaquette, that only has 6 points right now in 11 games. Look for that number to rise as well this season. Speaking of a rival of the St. Vital Junior Victorias, just because they're just across the river from St. Vital, that is the St. Boniface Riels. And, taking a look at the St. Boniface Riels again in the standings. This is a team that made it in as the 8th seed in the playoffs last season. Looking to be more than that this year. Top 3 in the league right now, being 3rd place. 2 points clear of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Big weekend coming up for the Riels as they'll be looking to keep pace with the Hawks and as well as maintaining 3rd place in the league. But as you can see there, 43 goals for. This team can put the puck in the net, and they got 44 goals against. So goal differential there is -1. You see the special teams penalty kill hasn't been the greatest, but the power play has stepped things up. For this St. Boniface Riels team, this is a team with a lot of returning players coming into it. 16 returning players to this year's roster, and I've had a chance to watch this team in a few games, and they're a team that likes to play with a lot of aggression on the forecheck. It's a team that chips the puck, flips it, and chases it down, causing the other team's defense to make mistakes and potentially break down. They're also a team that can prove when they're not chipping and chasing that they can transition well and create 2-on-1s, forcing some chaos in front of the other team's nets. They like to swarm on the forecheck as well as swarm other teams' nets. That's something that their head coach was very adamant to me about in Zach Franco, but they often outshoot teams, and they've been middle of the pack in terms of goals against in the league per game this season at 5th, and the power play's improved, like I said, as the season's gone along at 18.8%. That was below the double digits mark when I had done the blog story on this Riels team, but they have a lot of good skill players, and it's led by guys like Brzezinski Connor Davis, their captain, and Nathaniel Hines. Those are their top 3-point leaders. Hines brings a lot of skill with the puck to his game and makes really good offensive plays, really dangerous player. Connor Davis is an all-around really good player. He's good with the puck. Brzezinski has added another offensive dimension to this team as he's a rookie on this year's Riel's team. And outside of those guys, they got other guys that can put the puck in the net. They have a really good balance of lines in this lineup. It's a team that, has given up quite a few goals so far this season in terms of, they're middle of the pack, but their goaltending could be better as they're both below 900 in save percentage. But this is a team that has won a lot of close games this season. They're coming off of a win in OT against the Stonewall Jets. They were coming off of a blowout loss against the Canucks, but outshot them 41-31. They've won a lot of 1-goal games. They're 8-4. They got about 6 1-goal wins. This is a team that's battled, and they've battled so far to an 8-4 record. This is a team that has proven that they can limit teams in shots while putting up a lot of shots. The one thing that I think could hurt this Riel's team is maybe some inconsistency in net and some costly breakdowns at some miss opportune times. But this is a team with more experience, looking to build off of last season's first round exit that they had against the St. James Junior Canucks. But the important thing is they got back to the playoffs. I think they're looking to do that again this year, and I think they could be at least a 5th seed. I don't know. As the season goes along, we'll have to wait and see. But one team that's been really good this season is the Charles Woodhawks. They got 3 of the top 5-point leaders in the league right now. I'm going to be talking about them as well as the St. James Junior Canucks coming up next here on the MMJHL Podcast, brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools in Terrico, as you've seen scrolling on the screen for the past little bit, as well as goaltenders. We'll be back here in just a moment on this short edition of the official Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast on GShow Productions. Stick around, folks. Welcome back to this edition of the MMJHL Podcast. We're brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs. Visit their store locations in Brandon and Winnipeg today. We're also brought to you by Terrico, agricultural company here in Manitoba, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years with locations in Winnipeg. Be sure to visit their website today at gshow.ca to learn more about this great brand. We're also brought to you by Goaltenders, your goalie's personal video review service. Be sure to check out their website, gordytomlinsongoalies.ca, to learn more about what is essentially a one-on-one Zoom call goaltending type of coaching back and forth, which I think is pretty cool. So if you know anyone that wants to get better at goaltending, preferably younger and more so in the minor hockey stages, throw him Gordy's way, and he'll be able to guide you. And maybe if you're in the MMJHL, you want some goaltending coaching, hit up Gordy's website and get in contact with the ex-Winnipeg Jets 1.0 player, that is. But yeah, was talking about the St. Vital Junior Victorias as well as the St. Boniface Riels, and I mentioned the Charles Woodhawks, and yeah, I mean, taking a look at the point leaders, Rylan Hugin, 12 25 points in 12 games, leading all players in points. Then we got Derek Weeb there for the Pembina Valley Twisters with 21 points. Tyrone Willen for the league-leading St. James Junior Canucks, while he's their leader in points with 19 in 12 games. Ben Zander and Cam McDonald rounding out that top five. Zander tied with Tyrone for 19 points in the same amount of games. McDonald with one less, as you can see there, in 12 games played as well. The goal leaders, well, who other than Rylan Hugin, 17 goals in 12 games played. It's not even really close. The second best is his teammate in Cam McDonald. Willen, Alex Van Dinies, Vandenise, Alex Vandenise, there we go, and Merrick DeGrave, all with 8 points, tied for third. Had a bit of trouble there, excuse me for that, but yeah, taking a look at the assists, good, his name isn't there. I was gonna have a stroke there, I felt like, but Derek Weeb of the Pembina Valley Twisters leading all players in assists with 14 in 11 games played. Zander also tied with him, though, in 12 games played. Jason Ruff behind them with 13 points. Defenseman for the Charleswood Hawks, Cale Price and Peyton Bateman. Bateman of the Jets, Price, captain of the Canucks, tied for fourth with 12. Taking a look at the goaltending, too. Noah Gilbert, only undefeated goaltender in the league at this point with an 8-0 record. .934 save percentage, which is absolutely fantastic. Zach Meadows has been really darn good, too. Actually has faced the most shots out of any goaltender in the league at 324. He's 7-3 with a .907 save percentage. Alex Dominico, Alex Pauls, and Jesse Morris rounding out the top five there. Alex Pauls, a goaltender, new one this year for the Fort Garry Twins. And, of course, the Riels duo in that top five too. But yeah, in terms of the Charleswood Hawks, like mentioned, top 5 point getters in the MMJHL. Taking a look at the assist leaders too, right? Like, you look at it, Jason Ruff on the back end also delivering offense with his 13 assists, being top 5 in that point category. They've gotten good goaltending as well from Zach Meadows. And yeah, you look at this Hawks team, they're stacked offensively. They've won in many different ways this season. They've won in blowouts and close games. Besides guys like Hugin, Cam McDonald, and Ben Zander, Logan Dennis, Matt Carlson, and Elliot Lewis all have at least 4 goals as well. Zach Meadows has been really good in net. He's faced a lot of shots and has come up huge. He's second in the league in wins, like mentioned, like spoken about. And the Hawks, they've given up a lot of shots, and Meadows has had to be sharp, and he has been. But when you got a team that has so much offensive firepower as this team does, if you can just survive in the defensive zone, and you're able to capitalize, that's a way to win hockey games, right? You look at this Charleswood Hawks team, I mean, systems-wise, they do look pretty solid. Defensively, I think that's one thing they got to figure out, is limiting more of the shots. But one thing they do well is collapsing and defending their house in those last-ditch efforts. Offensively, I mean, they got the firepower you need to beat a team, potentially, like the St. James Junior Canucks, come playoff time or down the line, or one of those other good teams in the league. There's a lot of season to go, but it's a really strong start for a Charleswood Hawks team that is only looking to get better. And, I mean, as many goals as they've given up, like, they are third in the league in least goals given up against per game. So, yeah, this is looking like a potential championship contender so far this season, at least to get there. But it is a team that ended up losing to the St. James Junior Canucks by a score of 6-0 2 weekends ago, or a weekend ago now, as I should say. And yeah, for the St. James Junior Canucks team, I mean, them going out and beating a team as good as Charleswood is, it really isn't that surprising, and what they've been doing this season, 11-1 to open things up, isn't surprising at all. I mean, looking at their roster, 23 returning players. They got the most experience out of anyone in the league. They got the championship pedigree no one else has had for the past few seasons in the MMJHL, being back-to-back defending champions, holding the trophy for the past 2 years. They got the most goals for and the least goals against in the MMJHL this season, so they're putting everything together right now in these first 12 games. With that experience they've had, they've been able to get into their systems faster and having an advantage there over a lot of the teams in the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League. But I think this is a team that's going to maintain maybe not this level of play completely where they only lose one game this season, but a very high level of play this season. I think they're going to be able to maintain that. This is a team that I think has gotten a taste of winning, and they want it again. They got more experience. Not everyone went back-to-back, so players want to be part of winning another championship and being part of that three-peat too. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of season to go, but they got the pieces to do it. And not saying that they're my pick right now at this moment to win, but you look at the depth they have up front. It's the best in the league, even better than the Hawks on paper, with Tyrone Willen leading the team with 8 goals. Below him is 5 players with 6 goals. And not only is it forwards getting involved, but it's the defensemen as well, like they have been throughout their careers, in guys like Brady Whiteley and Rory Neal, among those players with 6 goals. And not only can their defense put up the good offense like guys like Rory Neal and Brady Whiteley can, but they can also defend really well, and so far they got the least goals against in the league per game given up, and in the league in total with only 28 goals against. They've defended really well this season too, and they got the best goaltender in the league in Noah Gilbert. Taking a look at his stats again, just ridiculous. So impressive. No matter how good your team is in front of you, you need that elite goaltending, and St. James has gotten just that. 8-0, a .934 save percentage. What else is there really to say on that front? But yeah, I mean, special teams is top 5 in every category. This team plays such a sound overall 200-foot game, and they're really tough to beat unless you become aggressive with them. You get in their faces and you cause them to take a lot of penalties. Now, St. James has had games this season where they've taken a lot of penalties and survived. The one game where they didn't was against the St. Vital Junior Victorias, where St. James gave up 11 penalties took 11 penalties and gave up 3 power play goals against. And yeah, St. Vital was just playing with a lot of energy in that game. They were playing them tight, and they didn't back down from the St. James Junior Canucks. Teams can't do that in this league, but even when you don't back down, St. James can elevate their game to another level. They have so many weapons that can beat you. They're a well-coached team, an experienced team, and a team that has a superstar goaltender, a backup that's won games too, and a team that's only going to get better as this season goes along. The favorites early on to win this year's regular season championship and the playoff championship, but we'll have to see what happens as this season goes along. Leave your thoughts down below on who you think is the number 1 challenger to the St. James Junior Canucks. Do you think that they're going to win the title here as your early season picks, or do you think it could be someone else? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below, but we're going to take another transition, and we'll be back to preview what's ahead on this week in the MMJHL. On this episode of this podcast, brought to you by McKenna Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, and goaltenders Graham the GShow Forsyth. Myself, I'll be back for more in just a moment here. Stick around. Welcome back to this edition of the MMJHL Podcast, as you could or just saw, sponsored by McKenna Fasteners and Tools, as well as Terrico and Goaltenders. Thinking we might have a code for some of these brands for this podcast for you to use coming up this month, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I've been talking about teams, talking about them in the standings, talking about how things really aren't that surprising. At the end of the day, that the St. James Junior Canucks are first place, holding their 4-point lead this past weekend. Taking a look at the scores once again, as you can see there, showing them. We had only one shutout, and that went to the Charleswood Hawks, but a lot of blowouts in this past little while in the league. Sunday was actually involve closer games, so that was nice to see. Always nice to see a competitive league, which the MMJHL is. But yeah, in the standings, the Charleswood Hawks, they're off to that 9-3 start. Not that surprising, honestly, that they're second place. Just talked about them. The amount of offensive firepower they have, they're doing a decent job of keeping pucks out of the net. And yeah, in terms of what's to come for these teams, all teams will have the night off on Thursday, except for, just getting another sponsor rolling there. But all teams will have the night off except for the St. Vital Junior Victorias, taking on the Transcone Railer Express at the St. Vital Centennial Arena. Puck drop at 7:30 p.m. This is a tradition for St. Vital. They're like the only team that plays home games on Thursday nights. I think it's pretty cool and pretty good atmosphere at the games if you want to go check it out. I was under the impression that MMJHL games were $7. They're $10 if you're a student. I think $12 to watch if you're an adult across the league from what I've seen this season. So go check it out if you have the money. This should be a good game. Transcona traditionally plays a chippy style. St. Vital looking to get back in the win column. Both of these teams are. Let's see if St. Vital, they can use their skill in this game to come out with a win if they do that. I think if St. Vital plays to their best capabilities, and they stay clean in their heads in terms of not getting sucked into the other team's drama, I think this is a team that fares really well, and this is a team that can go out and beat a team like the Transcone Railer Express, who they've been all right, but not the same talent as we've seen in past years with that squad. Friday is going to be filled with 4 games before a busy Sunday, which we'll get into just a moment. But the Charleswood Hawks taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club should be a good test for the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Can they maintain that success they had against a team in the St. Vital Junior Victorias? We will have to see. The Charleswood Hawks looking for win number 10 on the season. They'll be playing on the road game at 7 Oaks Sportsplex at 7:30 p.m. We also got the River East Royal Knights and the Fort Garry Twins, 2 teams near the bottom of the league. River East looking to climb into a playoff spot. Early in the season, they'll have a lot of time to do so, but games like this matter. The River East Royal Knights looking to snap a 4-game losing streak as well. A team that has been close to winning games, but hasn't quite been able to get it done. As they were up 3-0 against the Charleswood Hawks on Sunday and ended up blowing that game. But puck drops on that game at 7:30. Another game that drops at 7:30 is the St. James Junior Canucks in a trap game perhaps against the Stonewall Jets, looking for win number 12 as Stonewall looks to win their 3rd game of the season, as Pat Power and his Stonewall Jets will be at a McDonald Arena to take on the league-leading St. James Junior Canucks. And finishing things off is going to be the St. Boniface Riels traveling to Morris to take on the Pembina Valley Twisters, winners of 3 straight. Taking a look at the upcoming games coming up on the Sunday. It's going to be a full slate of games again of 5. The Charleswood Hawks taking on the Transcone Railer Express. Fort Garry taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club at 2:15 p.m. The rivalry between the St. Vital Junior Victorias and St. Boniface Riels reignites, as that game will be at Southdale Arena two of the potential top teams in the league this season as things go along, squaring off against each other. The St. James Junior Canucks with a good opportunity to add 2 wins to their resume to go to 13 if all things fall into place for them, taking on the River East Royal Knights to end off their weekend at Terry Sawchuk Arena in the evening at 7:30 p.m. And then this weekend of games ends with the Pembina Valley Twisters taking on the Stonewall Jets at the Stonewall Veterans Memorial Complex at 8 p.m. Central Time. So, yeah, like I said, all of these games in the MMJHL will be $12 to watch if you're an adult, $10 if you're a student, and a little less, I think, if you're a child and a senior. So definitely worth it if you're in the area to go watch some skilled hockey with some good physicality in there. Things can ramp up sometimes with the physicality aspect of things and tend to get fun. You start to hear some more chirping on the ice and things start to get rougher, which is entertaining to watch. But yeah, we are going to take one last commercial break here, folks, or transition, as I should say, as we got no commercials rolling on here on episode 3 of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast here on GShow Productions, brought to you by Goaltenders, Make-Canada Fasteners and Tools, and Terraco. Well, you've made it to the end of this edition of the MMJHL podcast. I was tilting my head there. I should share this, I guess. I ate some food earlier, still a bit full. And yeah, when I get full, I tilt my head a bit. I don't know why. It's always been something I do, but yeah, just thought I'd share that with you guys. This is going to mark the end of the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League podcast for episode 3. I've been your host, Graham, the GShow Forsyth. We'll show it again, the games that are happening this week in the league, starting on Thursday, so in 2 games' time. The Vicks hosting the Railer Express, as you can see there, and then lots of action on Friday, 4 games, with some exciting matchups there as well. And then on Sunday with 5 games coming to you. If you're in the area, highly recommend to go check out these games. Should be some good ones on tap. $12 to watch if you're an adult, $10 as a student, and a bit less if you're a senior or a child. But special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into this one. We will be back next week on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time for an all-new edition of the MMJHL podcast. We'll have players and maybe some coaches on next week's episode. It just won't be me going solo, rambling on as I have been, but it should be a lot of fun. Check out our website for updates on that, as well as on our social media pages. Want to thank Make-Canada Fasteners and Tools, your one-stop shop for all your industrial needs, for sponsoring this episode once again. Check out their store locations today in Brandon and Winnipeg. Also, check out their website, mccanadafasteners.shop. Thanks to Terraco as well, serving Manitoba producers for over 80 years in the agricultural industry. Visit their website at terraco.ca. As well to check out more of their products. And of course, the goaltenders, check out their website, GordyTumbleson.goalies.ca, your goalie's personal video review service, an official and proud sponsor here of GShow Productions. Thank you to all 3 of those for sponsoring us in terms of those brands. We'll be back next Tuesday. For you hockey fans out there, which I know you all are, check out the Jet Fuel podcast coming tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. At 9 p.m. Central Time. We also got a Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy podcast airing on Thursday, and a Blue Bombers podcast airing on Friday night. Fun week ahead, as I should say, for GShow Productions. I hope you guys have a wonderful one. Be safe out there. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. I've been your host, Graham, the GShow Forsyth, giving you a salute, peacing out, saying so long, and reminding you to remember this Saturday on November 11th on Remembrance Day. Have a great one, folks. I'll see you next week on Tuesday night. Take care. Bye, everybody.